Hi class, welcome back. Let's now try to bring our hand-sketched wireframe into Photoshop to generate a wireframe inside Photoshop, but now using grids as well. So to do that, we'll start by creating a new document. And on this document, I'll pick the web preset, such as Web Most Common. Uncheck artboards, and this time I'm going to change the height because I don't want only the area of my screen. I want an entire page, a scroll down format. That means that it is a page with multiple sections, a footer, and it should be usually a long document if you're using the scroll down format. So we can keep the width, which is the size of the screen, but we're going to add height so that we have more than just the cover. And we can try something like 2000 pixels. And when that's done, click on Create. Okay, so there you go. You'll see that we have a more vertical format. We'll start by applying the grids, such as we saw in our previous tutorial. I click on View, New Guide Layout, and it has saved the last configuration that I had done, which is custom 12 columns, a gutter of 30 pixels. It is showing in inches, but it's the equivalent in inches. 0 top margin, 0 bottom margin, 40 pixel left margin, and 40 pixel right margin. Click on Preview, center columns, keep it clicked. Okay. So, all right, we have a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 unit grid on my overall page. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to bring my hand sketched wireframe to this document. I have already saved, I took a picture with my phone. Okay, I hand sketched it. I took a picture with my phone and I saved it on the desktop. So right now what I'm going to do is simply drag it here to Photoshop. Okay, and there you see. The way I imagined it when I draw was that this is the outer limits of the screen, okay? This more or so is the cover, the fold line, and then I have the sections, the footer, and etc. So right now let's adjust this to the area that we actually have. So I'm going to bring the limits of my screen in my drawing to the actual limits of my screen in my mockup file. And it is okay now if you distort it a little bit, it doesn't matter. This is just to give you an overall orientation. So it doesn't really need to be quite precise. Once you're satisfied, press enter. Okay. So here we have more or so my sketched wireframe, and right now let's start adding some elements on top of it and aligning it to the grid. So for everything to be aligned with the grid, I should select View and Snap to. Snap to, you have to select Guides. Okay, so let's start by adding some graphic elements, such as the rectangle tool for the logo. And this should start in my first unit. And I would say that it spans through more or so 3 units. So, okay, there's my logo. I have a navigation bar that each element maybe should span like 2. I'll make it 2 units. Okay, and since I'm satisfied with it, I can press Shift and Alt with my move selected, Shift and Alt, and simply copy it automatically to the side. Same thing. Okay, so now I have my three probably text elements. Okay, I have two circles here that represent my social media icons, and let's just change it. Maybe use a rounded rectangle tool, and we'll leave 1 unit per each. So when you are drawing it, you could, if you want, align or make sure that they're all the same size. But for the sake of what we're doing here, we can do it just a little bit more freely, just following our eyes. So Shift Alt, and I copy it to the side. Okay, so right now here I have the representation of text. So instead of adding an element, let's actually add some text that is going to be more or so centered, and I would say span through 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 units. Or maybe not so, yeah, 6 units right there. Okay, and we can fill it with Lorem Ipsum. And let's change the color of it to black. And also change how it is justified. Like this, or maybe a center, it would be better. I think we can increase a little bit the size of the text. And also the number of units we want it to. Okay, so let's now add this button right here. Actually, Ctrl Z, I'm going to replace it by a rounded rectangle. And you can see that with the purple line, it means that this purple pink line, it means that it's centering the document. So here is a good option to leave it. And I'll add some text to it as well, like click me. Just so that I know it is a button. Make it white and move it. Okay, so this more or so is what I want for my cover page. Those are my main elements, and let's continue adding elements. And right here I'll add some circles, pressing Shift, so it's a perfect circle. There it goes. I'll move it up a little bit. One thing that you can do as well, if the guides get in your way, so you don't want to actually accidentally move them, you can come to View and select Lock Guides. By locking them, they're not editable anymore. So going back here, Shift Alt, and I copy. Right here we have to see how we're going to position this thing, but I'll just copy first. I think I'll position one here. I have one over there, and this one I'm moving to the center. Okay, so we could add some area for text. Ctrl T and reduce it a little bit. Okay, once I'm satisfied, Shift, I select the move, apply the transformation first, select the move, Shift Alt, copy it and center it, copy and align it. Okay, so actually this is spending a little bit more than 3 units, so I think I'm going to correct this. So Command Z, Ctrl Z if you are on Windows, Ctrl T, and let's make it exact the same size of the circle. Okay, that's good. And now let's copy it back. Apply the transformation, Shift Alt. And then this one is a bit trickier because you have to align it with this thing above and not with the guide. So we'll just place it here and then we move it later. And again, this one is perfectly aligned. Okay, so this one we can use the arrows. And let's add one section here with sort of let's imagine that it has a background. So instead of a black fill, I'll use grayish fill. And we had some text on top of it, so now I'll add right here, aligned with the top boxes. I'll add another rectangle and this one will be black. Okay, so continuing, we have a paragraph text here. We could start as well aligning to the top and spanning until here. We have an image. This is the representation of an image when it has an X like this, such as those. Those are images as well. And it's the same thing. Pressing Shift if you want a perfect square. And there it goes. Okay, so another button. I'll just copy this, Ctrl C, Ctrl V, and bring it here. I have to make sure that the layer is on top so that it actually is, it comes on top of my layer. Otherwise, I won't see it. Maybe I'll just make it invisible for a moment. What I want to do is to select those elements and then align them. Okay, so that's it. And it's easier to do that without having the background to get in the way. Right now, let's add a little bit more social media buttons. So one, Ctrl Shift Alt, sorry, and copy it. Shift Alt and copy it. Okay, so they're not exactly centered now. We should move this to the center. And the other ones, they're fine where they are. And let's add a footer. So for the footer, I'll add light gray just to make some differentiation. And then I know that I want to have some text on top of it, like with the copyright or something. And 1 unit, 2 units, 3, 4 units. It's good enough. And I'll change the fill to black. Okay, so there it goes. There's all that there is to it. You can now make your layer invisible. And if you wish, you can come to view and clear guides. Or even better, I don't think that we have the option here to make the guides invisible on Photoshop. So we can just clear guides. Okay, and once you're done, you have now your Photoshop mockup. You can make some adjustments, like I would probably select this and center. And the way you can do that is that you select the 2 elements that you want to center and then you click on top. Like I wanted to center them horizontally, so now they are centered, just to make sure. And I could as well grab all of those elements on top and make sure that they are aligned to the top edge. And maybe I want to align this one with this one. So there it goes. And maybe I want to align this button with the bottom edge. And then I'll go here. And as you can see, the text repositioned itself because it wasn't grouped. But you can select both and voila. Okay, so this is all that there is to it. And by having those shapes, it makes it really easy for you to bring images to your wireframe afterwards and rapidly create a mockup. We could as well replace the text very easily and replace those shapes by paragraph text. So this is it for now. Thank you for watching, and we'll continue with this creation of the mockup to illustrate what you have to do for the final project. Thank you.